Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you to our surrogate question and answer for January. With us today, we have Jasmine and we have Shalyn. You might notice that Shalyn is pinch hitting for us today. Our other ambassador, Brittany, that was supposed to be joining us today, had a real life surrogacy moment and decided to deliver this week. So, babies come when they want to come, and we can't stop them. So, instead of Brittany, we have the lovely Shalyn with us today. So, thank you, ladies, both for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about surrogacy today and anything else that anybody else wants to talk about. So I am going to start, Jasmine, with you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And just introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you got into surrogacy.
I'm Jasmine. I live in Kansas. I actually came across Family Source through TikTok. Another surrogate through Family Source had posted about donating eggs. At that time, she was donating eggs. So I was like, So I looked into it and I applied. After many applications elsewhere and not hearing back, I applied with Family Source at 8:30 in the evening, and by 9 the next morning, I got a call, "Hey, you wanna jump on a Zoom?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." And that's where it all began, and my whole journey was about 18 months long, including pregnancy, and I gave birth to a baby boy in May of 23.
Excellent. Well, we're really glad that you applied with us and that we got back to you so quickly. Shalyn, how about you?
Hey, yes. So when I gave birth to my son in March, oh my gosh, of 2022, I had to think about it. I knew that I wanted to be a surrogate. And so after my breastfeeding journey was done, or almost done, I wasn't quite done. I started reaching out to some agencies, and they didn't really want to talk to me until I was done breastfeeding, except for Family Source. And I was able to get the ball rolling before ever being done breastfeeding, which is how my journey wasn't too terribly long. I applied June of 2022, and then I am 32 weeks today. So yes.
Wow.
So we're
I'm
getting
sorry, but that is going so fast.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
For me. And probably not you, but it is
very
for
fast
me.
for me too.
Wow, that's awesome. So if you both wouldn't mind sharing with everybody, what made you decide to want to be a surrogate? What factored into that decision to carry a child for somebody else?
So personally for me, my love language is gift giving. I love giving to others. It makes me so excited, like to get them gifts and stuff and then to see their excitement and stuff. I've always been a big giver. I probably do it too much.
I'll
But
send you my address. No.
but also I love being pregnant, and even with my daughter's pregnancy, I was sick the whole time, but I loved being pregnant. I loved getting big, and I just loved the whole experience. So I'm like, why not do this for somebody else, who can't? And then that's when I started looking into it. But at first, I looked into egg donation right after I had her, but I was breastfeeding. And so I was told to put it on the back burner until I'm done. Well, I ended up breastfeeding for 15 months. So it was way on the back burner. And then it kind of just came forward more and more. And I'm like, I think I'm ready for that.
That's amazing. First of all, kudos to you for breastfeeding for 15 months.
I will say breastfeeding is way easier than pumping. Breastfeeding is way easier.
Wow.
Not
Well,
that it's
I
not
am
a lot of
blessed.
work in itself, but pumping is more work.
I believe it. I believe it. Shalyn, what is your answer?
I was terrified of the idea of being pregnant and the idea of childbirth until I experienced it and found it to be really easy for me. A lot of women struggle with so many health problems related to pregnancy, and I felt very lucky that I didn't have any trouble, that I don't get too terribly sick in the first trimester, that my labor and delivery was fast and smooth and as painless as it can be, right? And so when they laid my son on my chest, I was like, wow, I actually did that. I want to do that again. Don't want another kid. I want to do that again. And so I decided to give that ability to do that for others. I wanted to pass it forward a bit.
That's what's so beautiful about surrogacy is when you love pregnancy, but you don't want any more children of your own. It's like the best of both worlds.
Yes.
You know, it really is like the perfect combination, the perfect fit when it's the right time for you. I just think it's incredible. And of course, you know, we're doing these question and answer sessions because we really want to get the word out about surrogacy to everybody and about how beautiful it is and how wonderful it is. And I think a lot of people have some misconceptions about the process.
Yes.
And so with these Q&A sessions, that's really what we're trying to do, is that we're trying to dissolve some of those myths and sing the praises of all the wonderful parts of surrogacy. Of course, nothing is without challenges, but there's so much more good that outweighs any of the struggles that you might have in a journey.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to highlight, because, you know, we just want more and more people to say, this sounds so cool, I want to do this, because it really is. I think you can both agree, it was for me. It was life-changing for me. Like, here I thought in my head, oh, I'm doing this great thing for somebody else. And you are doing a great thing for somebody else, but you're also doing this great thing for yourself and for your family, and what you're teaching your family about surrogacy and helping other people. So that's really what we're trying to highlight here. I want to thank Lauren for popping in with some comments here. And yes, I agree with you, Lauren. Our support group is amazing. We will talk about that too. So I just want to ask both of you, what has surprised you about the process so far?
Honestly,
Anything?
throughout the whole process, they say hurry up and wait. It is hurry up and wait. I'd get so excited for the next milestone, getting that email like, "Oh my gosh, what's this one say? Like, what do I do next?" But then it's just more waiting, and everyone's journey is different. So you never
Indeed.
know.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, for me, it was also how long the process is. Like, you don't expect the hurry up and wait to apply to you. You always think you're going to be the minimum, wait time. Oh, the lawyer's going to get back to me so fast. And
Yeah.
no, it's a long time that you wait, but it's well worth it. And then once you actually transfer the embryo, everything seems to go by so fast.
Yeah.
And also I found surprising that the medicines were not as bad as I thought they were gonna be. Like, I thought that the 3 months it sounded so intimidating, but it, like, flew by.
Yep,
And,
absolutely.
also, as I was saying about everyone's journey is different, I had to stop meds, let my period come back, and restart because when I started progesterone and oil, it made me bleed, and nope, we're canceled. And this was 4 days before I flew to, transfer. So I had to start all over, which pushed my journey a month back as well. So that just goes to say you never know.
Those are the unexpected things that can happen. And we always say that no journey is without a hiccup
Yeah.
of some sort. So that definitely was your hiccup.
Yes.
But smooth sailing after that, which was
Yes.
really cool.
I can't even explain how perfect my pregnancy was. With my daughter, I was sick the whole entire time. I had to be on nausea medicine, not even Zofran. It was above that because Zofran didn't work.
Wow.
I was so sick up until labor. But with the surrogate baby, no nausea at all. I ate all the time, which I love eating. So I was loving it. I ate all the time, like never got sick ever. My labor I was from a 6 to a 10 in 4 hours.
Wow.
When I went in, I was already at a 6, so my
Yeah, I
body.
do remember you going pretty quick.
Yeah.
So let me ask, how was your relationship with your intended parents throughout your journey, and then after delivery, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about that?
So for me, every week, and I did this cautiously because I didn't want to be annoying, but I feel like I was just as excited as they were. So every week on our week anniversary, I'd text my intended mother and be like, hey, happy 9 weeks, happy 10 weeks. And then I'm like, maybe I'm being too much. Maybe I'm being annoying. So one day I was busy anyways, and I had forgot to send it. And she sent it to me, which was just reassurance that she enjoys doing that. I also did a gender reveal for them because the embryo we transferred was not tested. So they didn't know the gender. So I was able to do that for them too, even though it's really cold and it practically ruined the gender reveal, but we made it work.
You're plowed through.
Yeah. So maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I was talking to my intended parents.
And how was it at delivery time?
They did not make it. My water broke at midnight, and they planned on leaving the following morning, and they're a 9-hour drive away. So I called them like, hey, you got to leave now. And I had a feeling that my labor was going to go fast because my first labor was only 8 hours. So I'm like, I just have a feeling. And this time my water broke on its own. I think he's coming. And so they hit the road, but they did not make it. So I was allowed to breastfeed him in the hospital and keep him in my room with me until they made it.
Oh, that's cool. That's very nice. So when you see your intended parents holding that baby for the first time, right?
Yes.
Like everything right there.
I was so excited.
The moment. I call that the moment.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It is.
Shalyn, how about you? How is your relationship with your intended parents?
I feel like we have a great relationship. We speak a couple times a week via text, and we do like to do video calls at least every few weeks, maybe once or twice. We've made it a month without speaking to each other, face to face. We like to do face calls, but they're really excited, obviously, at this point because we're getting so close. And I can't speak for labor and delivery yet because we haven't got there, but I'm hopeful that they'll make it. We have an induction scheduled for 39 weeks.
Okay.
So if we make it that far, but if we go earlier, they said it's like 6 hours from their house to the hospital. So I'm hoping that they can make it. And in preparation, I am going to be doing some pumping of colostrum so that they can bottle feed him as soon as they get him.
So this question is just for you then, since you haven't delivered yet. Do you have any fears or anxieties or anticipation, or your mind has to start, it's starting to think about it now, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm pretty hopeful that I'll be able to have a natural delivery again. You always have to be mentally prepared in case there's a C-section. So that's what I'm doing now, is kind of mentally preparing myself. And I've been going into the gym, swimming multiple times a week throughout the whole journey. So I'm hopeful that staying active is going to be good for me. My biggest thing is I did put that I only want the intended parents in the room because we have a limit of 2 people. So my husband won't be there. So it'll be my first time going through something like this without his support. So I'm a little nervous about that part, but beyond that, I'm just excited.
So as far as that is concerned, I will tell you that sometimes once you are at the hospital, those hospitals will make an exception.
Yeah, I'm kind of hopeful they'll make an exception, especially because I assume we'll probably arrive before they can.
Yeah.
But, if not, I'm mentally prepared to do this without him.
Yeah, and even if it's so, he comes in or people are coming in and out. I don't know if COVID changed some of that because my delivery was way before COVID, but I know I was they were prepping me for more of an emergency kind of, not emergency, but more okay, we're doing a C-section now. And my husband had run home to check on my kids. So he didn't make it back in time, and they were only going to allow one person in the operating room with me. And I said to the nurse, I'm like, can you please check with somebody else and see if the dad can come in too? Because my husband and I had already discussed that if that was the case, he said, I know you're going to be fine. You're in good hands. He said, but your IPs need to be there to see the birth of their baby. He's like, I don't need to be there. You're going to be okay. And they did make an exception, and they let both of the intended parents in with me, which just, made me so happy. And then when I came out, I went into the recovery room, and my husband was waiting for me. And both of the intended parents were there, and she was doing skin on skin, and I was just like, all the feelings, all the tears, all the like, oh, it was just so awesome. Even if it's not the expected delivery that you're hoping for, it's still awesome. Whatever happens, it's still going to be great. How are your families feeling about this decision to be a surrogate, and how are they supporting you, and what are their thoughts on the whole process?
So for me, actually, the night that I was trying, well, I guess the day I left early in the morning, the day that I got back from my medical clearance trip, my dad passed away.
Oh gosh.
So I'm glad I was able to be here for that, but something just with the surrogacy at the same time, it helped me stay distracted, and have something to look forward to, And he was really worried about the situation. I'll be honest. He was like, I don't want you to do that. What if you don't want to give the baby up? I'm like, I'm mentally prepared for this. Like, he just loves all his grandbabies and he wanted me to have more. And I'm like, I can do this. I know I'm not going to get attached. I know going into this what it is, But I also had my aunt. I'm really close with her, and she was there at delivery with me, and she was crying.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. You can't help but get emotional about it.
And she had the IPs on FaceTime the whole time.
Aww.
She's crying, and they're on the phone, and
oh, that's great. That's great. Shalyn, how about you? How about your family? They on board with this whole decision?
Oh yeah, from the very beginning, they thought it was just like another one of my, whims, because they'll say I'm going to do a lot of things, but then I actually went forward with it and they were like, okay, they're not surprised. It's something I would do. But they've been very surprised to like learn along with me. Like my father-in-law did like my first shots for me because he's a nurse and I was really appreciative. And he taught my husband how to do it because I was too nervous to let him do it. He's left-handed and I never felt like he was going to do a good job. So, but he did fine.
Left-handers, no.
Yeah, he's just a little bit more clumsy. So I was kind of like, can you do it to my father-in-law? So anyway, he was really supportive. And actually my sister-in-law kind of is, she's always been curious about surrogacy. And now watching me go through it, she's actually, I sent her the application for Family Source. So she's
That's
thinking
awesome.
about being a surrogate. So
yay, that's awesome.
Really supportive.
Make sure she puts your name down as a reference.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure she does that in her application. That's excellent. And that's what we hope is that, spreading the word will attract more and more people to want to do this amazing thing. Can you give me one or two couple pieces of advice or things you may say to somebody? Well, Shalyn, you have like firsthand experience now of somebody who might be thinking of being a surrogate. Any pieces of advice?
Personally, I would say go into this with an open mind because anything can happen. So as this being my second birth, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know what it was. Perfect pregnancy, but after birth, I heard my OB tell the assisting doctor, "That's her cervix right there." I was like, "My cervix? You shouldn't be able to see my cervix. What are you talking about?" And he didn't even tell me at that point. And he's like, "Oh, you have a prolapse cervix. It's fine." Da, da, da. And I'd never heard of that before. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm scared, and I'm still dealing with that 7 months later. So it's all the possibilities that come with birth and pregnancy that you have to have an open mind with, and just in case something does happen.
Right.
So I told my sister-in-law when she, we were talking at Christmas about her potentially being a surrogate as well. I just kind of let it be known that, the opportunity isn't going to just jump at you. You've got to just do the easiest part, put in your email, fill out the information, and just see. You know what I mean? Just start talking to someone about beginning the process. You're not hurting anything by getting the conversation going. There's always going to be a reason not to apply today, not to start today. Just get it rolling, and then eventually everything will fall into place if it's the right move for you to be a surrogate. So.
And I will say, I think a lot of people going into it, because I was one of them, don't realize how long the process is and what it takes. So I think a lot of people think you're pregnant within a couple months, and that's more than likely not the case. And sometimes you will have to travel. I mean, it's a mutual agreement with you and the intended parents, but you might have to travel through plane. That was my first time being on a commercial airplane for my medical screening and for my transfer. My
Wow.
dad was a pilot, so I've been in a 4-seater airplane, but that's it. So
Wow.
it's my first time on a commercial airplane, but um, lots of trials and tribulations, but it's so worth it. So learning everything you can about it before starting is your best bet.
Yeah, I would say like you said, it takes a while. So it's not like you're going to apply and somebody's going to be knocking down your door to like drag you off to get a
Let's
transfer
go get
done the next
pregnant.
day. No, it's going to take a while. I applied in June just to get the process going, and I didn't have my transfer until July of the next year. So it takes time. So just go ahead and start the conversation today.
Those are excellent pieces of advice. I would like to move on a little bit to some of the support that we offer here at Family Source. As you know, we have our Zoom meetings and our in-person meetings and our fabulous Facebook group. Can you both tell me a little bit about if you utilize our Facebook group and anything you want to say about it, if you love it or it's been very helpful?
So for me, there's never been a time that I've reached out to someone with Family Source during my journey or outside of my journey and not heard back almost immediately. Everyone has always been so helpful from the get-go, from when I applied and I was in the next day. Everyone's always been so helpful and answered any questions that I've had, and all the other surrogates that we have in the Facebook group are very supportive too, and we all share everything we've gone through, any tips for meds and all that.
Absolutely. That's what I love about it too. I love that you can put a question out there, and that's how you know people are like really in the group and engaging in the group and active in the group. And I want to say too, we're a drama-free group. I know there's some other groups that are out there, and a lot of things happen in those groups, and we are. You have to be a Family Source surrogate to be included in our group. We are drama-free, we are supportive, but sometimes you get real answers to things you might not want to hear, but we have a lot of experienced girls in our group, and everybody just wants to help each other through the hard times and support each other and be happy through all the good times.
Yeah.
And I love that you both are in the group and active in the group. Shalyn, what do you like about it?
I liked it. I mean, I still like it now as everything's progressed into kind of almost more of like a normal pregnancy. I've fallen off it a little bit and gotten a little bit more involved at work, and
It
but
happens.
at the very
No
beginning, at the very beginning, oh my gosh, I was in that Facebook group all the time with questions in regards to like the transfers and numbers. What should they be after transfer? I had a million questions all the time, and everyone was so nice to be responsive and let me know their experience. And whenever I see a question pop up that I know the answer to from experience now, I'm happy to jump in there. But besides that, I've been enjoying a normal pregnancy at the very end. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, the Facebook group is so helpful.
Good. And that's our intention. We want everybody to be a part of it because we love it so much. We do only have about 5 minutes or so left. So that being said, what other, is there any like closing words, last pieces of advice, things that you want to tell somebody who's thinking of being a surrogate? I know we always say, do your research, get your questions together, get all your ducks in a row sort of thing. But is there anything else that you think you'd want to add to our wonderful Q&A today?
I think I would say ask all the questions you have. More than likely, any experienced surrogate is going to want to answer those questions. I love talking about surrogacy. I get so excited. And I've had a friend who actually came with Family Source to do a transfer. The transfer did fail, which is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But she had some things happen within her family where she wasn't able to continue forward with another transfer. But I love talking about it. I love answering questions, telling people how mine went and everything. So more than likely, any surrogate you're asked is going to be more than willing to answer every single question you have, which I had a lot.
Which is good, because that's how, and I like to say too that no question is stupid. No question is silly, because you don't know what you don't
You
know.
do not know going into it what it
You just
actually
don't
is.
know.
Only what you hear kind of like or assume,
Right.
not real life.
Nobody's going to be judgy.
Right.
We're not judgy like that.
Nope.
Shalyn, how about you?
I would just reiterate, like, don't be intimidated by the process. It's like one step at a time. It sounds like a lot of waiting. You get warned about the waiting, the application process, and all these different steps. But if you really break it down, it's just one little task at a time, and you're going to have someone from Family Source who's going to tell you exactly what you're meant to be doing, and all you have to do is be able to follow those instructions, and all of a sudden it's done, and you can't believe that you're 32 weeks pregnant. So,
I can't believe it.
yeah.
I can't believe it. I really can't. And I will say, our case managers, I'll talk about them all day long if you let me, because each and every one of them brings something unique to the table. They all have different personalities. They all are so committed and so passionate about surrogacy. And, I wish everybody could kind of see some of our monthly staff meetings that we have, and we celebrate the births that have occurred. And so many people are just so genuinely excited and happy for what we are a part of. And, as somebody that might have worked with you from the very beginning will chime in and say, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. They were the first people I signed on, or whatever it is. But just genuine happiness and love for what we're doing here. That's really what it's all about. So let me see if we have any questions here. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Desiree. I don't see any other questions here. So I guess we are almost out of time as it is. I would like to thank you ladies for being with us today. Our wonderful ambassadors, you offer so much knowledge to hopefully a population out there that wants to become a surrogate. We'd love to have you on board. So just check out our website and sign on up, because we'd love to have you. Jasmine, Shalyn, thanks for the quick jump in here today. for jumping in for Brittany. We really appreciate it. Ladies, I will see you soon. Thank you for being with us today.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.